Have you checked the children? Your little master.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
Robert Duell.
And we are here to do a review that isn't a Patreon request or anything, but this is a follow-up to a Patreon request that we did a few months back. We reviewed the original full moon feature Castle Freak.
Mm-hmm.
And quite frankly, we enjoyed that original movie.
Jeffrey Combs, all that goodness.
Classic. Honestly, in my opinion, the best full moon feature that's out there. And then we found out that 2020 was dropping a Barbara Crampton produced remake of Castle Freak. And look, it's available for Prime for a rental fee, but it's also available on Shudder for free. I highly recommend going the Shudder route. Even if you have to pay the $5 to add Shudder just to watch this, it's still cheaper than I think the $6 rental fee, because I don't think this is worth much more than $5 to watch, if that.
I wouldn't even buy it for $1.
I wouldn't buy that for $1. Yeah, guys, this remake, here's what I'm going to say that's positive about it. I admire its balls. I admire the balls that it had to try and attempt something that the original did not try and attempt, that is apparently closer to the original source material than the original movie was. However, it did not by any stretch save the first hour and 20 minutes of this hour and 40 or so minute movie. The last 20 minutes I was into, but the first hour and 20 minutes was pretty garbo. I was not a fan. Overall of this movie, I think it is a very skippable, when I think about one scene in particular, quite gross affair that is not necessary.
Oh, yeah.
Robert?
I kind of forgot about that one.
Yeah, well, all I had to say was gross affair.
Yeah.
And you knew what I meant.
So, yeah, this was a movie. Honestly, if you've seen the original Full Moon feature, it was great. Honestly, like, it was still when Full Moon was putting effort in production into their movies and everything. I honestly, like, okay, I can't even really
You okay?
No, honestly, because I'm trying to find something positive to kind of say just on an overall thought about this movie. My issue, and I was talking with them about this off camera earlier, this is literally two movies in one. This is even farther from the original Lovecraft story than what the original Full Moon feature movie or film that we got was. Completely ass backwards.
Okay.
And like I said, it's basically because they're cherry picking with some of the Cthulhu mythos and everything with the Necronomicon and all the other stuff. That is not in any of that story.
Oh. Okay.
So basically, the original story, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in our Castle Freak review for the Full Moon film. The original story
available on our Patreon page.
Link in the description box. So basically, our Castle Freak is our main character in the original story. So basically, his world underneath, he thinks is our surface world, and it's a story of his journey going through this world, and then discovering that there's people, and that's basically about this story. None of this is what that story was about. Even for what we had in the third act. Honestly, I could not enjoy it. This should have been at least an hour and 15-minute movie. Maybe 20 minutes at most, and it might have had a little bit more redeemable qualities. But again, it goes back to, this isn't you shouldn't even call it really Castle Freak, because
it was Castle Freak.
It kind of
just a very pale comparison.
Basically see-through.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm gonna diddle up on that one.
No, he's not wrong. Overall thoughts-wise, I was definitely disappointed. I give it credit for its balls for trying to do what it tried to do, but overall it was a massive failure as a movie. And the story basically revolves around this couple, one of which, the girl, is blind because of a screw-up from her boyfriend. Drugs and alcohol, and she lets him drive. He crashes the car, it blinds her, and then she inherits this castle, and they go there, and there's something living in the walls, and there's a mystery to it. They don't know exactly what the deal is. Eventually, their friends show up, and every single girl that signed on to this movie had to sign on to agreeing to show her jugs as well, because every single girl in this movie shows her jugs, and it's not necessary almost any of the time. Maybe
That's
it's
just-
because
that-
I'm an
again,
older
it's-
gentleman now.
well,
I
no,
don't
it's
need
not-
to-
no, it's
I'm
not
not
even
a horny
that.
teen relying on
It's
it
not
anymore.
even that,
But
but it's like even back when I was a teen and everything,
you would have felt this was gratuitous.
this was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, and again, like you can tell.
Oh, they're naked again.
How
Oh.
shitty of a movie do you have
Wow.
to be to just keep
Okay.
showing tits to keep people entertained?
Yeah.
That's
Pretty shitty.
exactly.
This is the example. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's the story. There's a freak living in the castle while these two are there, and one of them is trying to find out a history of the castle, while the other is just being a douche nozzle, with his friends being douche nozzles as well. And it turns out that there's more to it because there's actually a Lovecraftian cult involved trying to raise some of the old ones. And how does it all tie in together? I could not
fucking
explain it to you.
doesn't.
Just watch the movie, because frankly it doesn't. But if you can appreciate all the disparate pieces, then you might have a good time. That's what I'm glomming onto. Like, I like the fact that they went for what they went for at the end, but everything leading up to the end was just they're trying to get gross for grossness' sake, and it just doesn't serve the story.
Well, and it was
You know what I
going
mean?
back to what I was saying, like they were cherry picking from the Cthulhu mythos and everything. This should have been two different movies, because it literally was from what we got in the beginning to about an hour into the movie. It completely flip flopped into from what it was,
Yeah.
and I really did not care for that damn ending.
And acting-wise...
Gross wise, it was like, oh, okay, well that sucks.
Well, we'll get to some of that grossness.
Yeah.
We'll get to some of the grossness in the effects times, but acting-wise, there was no one that was worth writing home about. And
No.
in fact, there was plenty of people that took you out of the story. The acting felt like they still got full moon actors to try and act in this
I will
higher
say,
budget version of the independent story.
I did like whomever did the acting of the Castle Freak and everything.
Sure, but
That
everyone
movement
else
and things like that. It
was
exactly.
so cheesy.
That was the only good acting that I could
Point
give
to.
credit
enough.
credit to on this entire bill.
Sound design wise, music wise, you said you wanted to talk about music.
Music.
Sound design was standard.
Yeah, sound design was standard. I'm gonna give a little thumb and a so up and everything on their music, because they did have some pretty good choices in music. They had Gunship, Dark All Night.
But it
Or
didn't
Dark All
fit.
Day.
It didn't fit the movie at all.
Well, they're in a seedy European club bullshit. I don't fucking.
I
it was
like
a
Dark
good-
All Day too.
It was
but
a
didn't
good
fit.
song.
It's a good song. It didn't fit the
All
movie.
right, and then obviously you had your little harder hitting stuff towards the end credits and everything like that. But other than that, hey, I'm trying to give it some positive. God damn it!
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I distracting you?
And you don't strain yourself now.
Yeah, effects wise, I
Effects
think that's
were-
at least worth talking
The
about.
effects were the bread and butter of this movie.
So
That
we definitely
I will-
saw much more of the freak.
Yes.
Yeah, and
But I preferred the original design
I
versus
agree.
what we got. in
I
this
agree.
one.
They changed things up a bit without ruining anything, but the freak could get fucked now. I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut that out. I'm gonna cut it out.
It does.
I'm gonna cut it out. Yeah. There's some things that happen that are unexpected with the changes that they make, but it's not enough to carry the movie and improve the movie in any way, shape, or form. In fact, all it did was gross me out even more without any sort of value to the grossness. It felt like grossness for grossness' sake instead of grossness to serve the story.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I didn't cotton to it.
See, this is why I don't use blindfolds. Like, I'm just gonna.
Truth. Hashtag truth bomb.
I am just gonna lay that out there right now, because
And
that was a
I am
disgusting
definitely
ass scene.
not too old to say hashtag something or other.
or other.
Anyway,
But
guys,
no, other than that, like
Yeah.
because it was virtually
there was a lot of gore.
There was a lot of gore and everything, and about 90% of it was all practical. Versus like what we got maybe in the last 5 minutes or so.
Which
towards
is
the
a
end.
bonus. We have to say these are pluses.
Yes, I will. No, this is like I said. The effects
very
is
few
the bread
pluses.
and butter of this movie.
Indeed.
And they did it very well. The gore was
And there
done.
was lots of it.
The gore and the effects and everything for all of what we had, it was. I'll use the word tasteful, in a sense.
Okay.
You know, it was full. It was gory, but
Um.
it really goes back to I really like the design for the cultists
Okay.
at the end.
Okay.
That I think I personally liked that more than I did of the Freak.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So yeah, guys, I mean, we've covered pretty much all the movie in some way, shape, or form. I would say, if you like gore and boobs, give it a watch. Especially if you're already paying for Shudder. You know?
Goobs.
Yeah, it's a very gooby movie. So if you're just a goob fan and that's all you care about, and look, I'm sure there's some 12, 13, 14-year-olds that are goob fans.
One thing I will say,
If this had come out back, this is definitely more boobilicious than the original was. So this
some pause
would
and toss moments.
look, this would have been one of my go-tos if I was a kid, 100%. Straight up.
One other thing I do want to reflect back on is the sets and everything.
Okay.
The sets were
It was a real castle.
It was a real castle and everything, but like even the interior, it was nicely done. That again, it was.
Credit where credit's due.
Exactly. We're not trying to.
That's where the budget is actually.
Yeah,
spent
we're not
now.
trying to beat this down and everything into pulp. Like there are some decent merits
You're right.
with this movie,
You're right.
but in a final product, this is a flat
Yeah.
tire laying on the side of the road.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong there either.
So.
You're right on both accounts. Guys, if this interests you, then give it a look. Again, it's available on Shudder. If you don't want to have your image of the original sullied in any way, shape, or form, if you're really sensitive to subpar remakes, skip it. But if you can watch it and like laugh at it, then great. All the better for you.
As what Fuego would say, it's another turn of the wheel. You know? Shut up.
Why did you have to? Anyway.
Just to piss you off.
Mission accomplished. Anyway, guys, if you have Shudder and you don't care about your time, give it a look. Otherwise, give it a
Straight
skip. Thank you very much for watching, though. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel. The link to that is in the description. So if you want to become a patron, I believe it was a Patreon or a patron that suggested the very first Castle Freak review. So no one suggested this one with good reason.
It was either that or I think it was a poll.
Either way, it was part of,
it was part of the Patreon
page.
Yeah.
So if you want to become a patron, the link is in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Robert Duell.
And remember,
Stay scared.